Okay, so this is going to be a Chapter 6 review over inequalities, finding solutions, having two equations, and using elimination, substitution, all that jazz. So let's look at the first one. Determine which ordered pair represents a solution. So for it to be a solution, it has to be sitting in that shaded region. An ordered pair is a point, so x, y. So let's take a look at this first one, 4, 2. So we're going to go to the right 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, because it's x, y. Then we're going to go up 2, so no. Let's try 0, 0. That one sits in my shaded region. So there's my answer. Okay, when solving a system of equations, which expression could be substituted for y in my first equation? If I have y equals 1, well, we'd substitute 1 in. If I had y equals -2, -2 would be substituted in for y. So this one, we have to get y by itself in my second equation. So let's subtract 2x. So y would equal -2x minus 17. This can then be substituted in for y into my first equation, which is what I was trying to find. Okay, the IU bookstore sells mechanical pencils for 32 cents and ballpoint pens for 60 cents. During 1 hour, the clerk rang up 1714 for 43 pens and pencils. How many pens did the clerk sell? Okay, so we know that, let's just do this one first. So there's a total, if I add all of my pens and all my pencils together, there should be 43 of them. Okay, so this is going to be my pens. This is going to be my pencils. Okay, so now let's put money with money. 32 cents for pens, so we're going to do 0.32 for x, and 60 cents for my, it was the other way around. So it's 60 cents for pens, 32 cents for pencils. That's why you always make sure you label what your x and y is. They also totaled out to be 1714. Okay, so how many pens did the clerk sell? So we want to know our x value. So let's eliminate our y value here. So let's multiply by -0.32. So we're going to get negative 0.32 x minus 0.32 y is equal to 43 times -0.32 is going to be -13.76. Let's add down, so my y's cancel. 0.60 plus -0.32 should give you 0.28x. 1714 plus a -13.76 should give you 338. Divide both sides by 0.28. So that my x should equal, I got 12.07, but you can't have 0.07 of a pen. So we're going to round it to 12. Make sure you label, because you don't want to round up, because then you're estimating too many pens. You would rather estimate too low than too high for this. Okay, determine which ordered pair represents a solution to the inequality. So again, we're looking to find something in the shaded region. Let's try this first one. -3, 0. That's right there, so no. Remember, you got to walk to the elevator before you ride it for points. Let's try 0, 3. So 0, up 3. That one doesn't work. 0, -3. So we'd go down 3. So right here. So there's my answer. Ooh. Okay, we got to figure out which graph is represented by the equations below. So we automatically know we can eliminate A and D because they have the line underneath, so that means it should be a solid line. So now let's pick a point that's in my shaded region. So let's do 0, -1. So let's try C first. So if I plug in, it should be true. So is -1 less than 0? Yes, it is. Because I picked a point that was in my shaded region. That means if I plugged it in, it should be true. So my answer is C. Okay, when solving a system of equations, which expression could be substituted for y? We just did that one. Okay, we got to figure out which graph is above. We can't eliminate any just based on the inequality, so we can't do that. Let's pick a point that is in my shaded region, so 1, 1, and plug it in. Let's try A, so let's put it into my first equation. 2 times 1 is 2. 2 minus 2 is 0. So there's true, but remember it has to be true for both, so let's try the other one now. -2 times 1 is -2. 1 is greater than -2, so A is my answer. First equation is multiplied by negative 1. So then I'd have negative 6x plus y is equal to negative 10. To eliminate the variable, I'm going to rewrite this one underneath it again. To eliminate the variable x, what do I have to multiply the second equation by? Well, we need it to have the same number in front, one be positive, one be negative. That will get me my 6 for them to cancel. Okay. X and y, neither of them are by themselves, but they're on both sides, same side of the equal sign, so let's put them on top of each other. Looks like my y's might be pretty easy to cancel because I can get that bottom one to be a 4, so let's multiply this bottom row by 2. So then I'd get negative 18x plus 4y is equal to negative 138. So I'd get negative 12x, my y's cancel. Negative 138 plus 54 is negative 84. Divide both sides by negative 12. X should equal 7. Okay, now we got to find our y, so let's plug it into an equation. Remember, it always has to be a point if you find one of them. Negative 9 times 7. Okay, so negative 9 times 7 is negative 63. Add 63 to both sides. 2y is equal to negative 6. Divide by 2. Y should equal negative 3. Okay, which ordered pair represents the solution to the system of equations below? So this is from our first lesson where we would graph and see if there's infinitely many solutions, no solution, or one point that we needed to name. So an ordered pair is x, y. So here is where they cross at. So we're going to go left 3 on my x, 1, 2, 3, because you have to walk to the elevator before you ride it, and then we're going to go up 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So there's my answer. Okay. Looks like x and y are on the same side, so let's go ahead and use elimination. And if we want to eliminate our y, since they have the same number in front, we just have to make one positive, one negative, so it's multiplied by negative 1. So I'm going to get negative 3x plus y is equal to negative 2. Okay, if we add down, our y's cancel, so negative 3x plus 2x is negative x. 4 plus negative 2 is 2. X is still not by itself, so we got to divide both sides by negative 1 to get rid of the negative 1 on the left side. So x should equal negative 2. Now we got to find y. So we got to plug it in. 3 times negative 2 is negative 6. Add 6 to both sides. Negative y is equal to 8. Again, divide by negative 1. So y should equal negative 8. Okay, x and y are on the same side again. Let's multiply this top by 2. So then it would be 2x plus 4y is equal to 12. So my y's will cancel. Let's add down. 2x plus 2x is 4x. Negative 12 plus 12 is 0. Divide both sides by 4. X is equal to 0 divided by any number. You can put it in your calculator. It's going to be 0. Because if 0 is on top, then it's okay. But if it's on bottom, it's not okay. Okay, now we got to plug it in. 2 times 0 is 0. Divide both sides by negative 4. Y is equal to 3. Okay, determine which ordered pair represents the solution to the system of inequalities in the graph. So an ordered pair is a point x, y. So let's check out A. We're going to go to the right one, up 1, so it's right about there, so that's not right. Negative 1, so we're going to go left 1, down 1, right there, that's not it. The next one is 1, negative 1, so we're going to go right 1, down 1, right there, so there's my answer. If it sits on a solid line, it's also good. But if it sits on a dashed line, it's not good, because if I plugged it in and say I got 3 is greater than 3, 3 is never greater than 3, but 3 is greater than or equal to 3. So solid lines work, dashed lines don't. Okay, got to put them on top of each other again. Okay, if I want to cancel my x's, we're going to have to get to be 12. So we're going to multiply the top by 4, or the top by 3 and the bottom by 4. So I'd get negative 12x minus 9y is equal to 15. And then 12x minus 8y is equal to negative 32. So my x's will cancel. Negative 9y plus negative 8y is negative 17y. 15 plus negative 32 is negative 17. Divide both sides by negative 17. Y should equal 1. Plug it in. Okay, 2 times 1 is 2. Add 2 to both sides. And divide by 3. So then x should equal negative 2. Okay, determine which graph is represented by the equations below. Okay, so it doesn't look like we can eliminate any just by looking at the dashed or solid line. So let's pick a point that is in my shaded region so we can test them. So it looks like 1, 1 is in my shaded region because it's right about there. So let's put it in for A. Okay, negative 1. Negative 1 minus 2 is negative 3, so we know that's not true because 1 is never less than negative 3. So let's cross that one out. And let's try C. Okay, so negative 1 minus 2 again is negative 3. 1 is greater than negative 2, so that one's good. So now we got to try the other one because it has to be true for both of them. 3 times 1 is 3. 3 minus 1 is 2. Okay, so 2 is greater than 1, so our answer should be C. Okay, Sydney has a business planting flowers. She earned $26 less this week than she did last week. She earned a total of $622 during the 2 weeks. How many dollars did she earn this week? Okay, so we're talking about this week and last week. So we're going to do week 1 being X and week 2 being Y. Okay, so she earned a total of $622 in both weeks. So if I added my first week to my second week, it should be 622. So here's our first equation. Okay, then she earned $26 less this week than she did last week. Okay, so this week is talking about the second week. So if I subtracted then 26 from last week, so my week 1, I should get my second week because it's 26 less than my other one. It's a little bit confusing. So now we're going to use substitution. We're going to plug this in, so we're going to get x plus x minus 26 is equal to y. 2x is equal to 622. Sorry. 2x minus 26 is equal to 622. Add 26 to both sides. 2x is equal to 648. Divide both sides by 2. And we get x to be $324. Remember, always label. Okay, and we said x is the first week, and it wants to know how many dollars did she earn this week. So we want to know the second week. So we can go ahead and plug it back into the first equation. So we're going to get 324 plus y is equal to 622. So when we subtract 622 and 324, so y should equal $298. So my answer then is $298. Okay, this one, got to do the opposite to get it to the other side, so we got to add 23. So then t is equal to negative 12 plus 23 is 11. So there's my answer. Okay, Got to multiply both sides by 8 because you got to do the opposite. Since we're dividing, we got to multiply. Negative 6 times 8 is negative 48. Since we didn't multiply or divide by a negative, it's just the sign's going to stay the same. Okay, determine which ordered pair represents a solution. Well, for it to be a solution, it has to be in the shaded region. An ordered pair is a point, so x, y. So you could pick any of these points that's in here. So I could pick 0, negative 1, negative 2, 1. Any of those points would work for it to be a solution. So if I plugged it in to either of these equations for these two lines here, it would work. Okay, this one. I have y almost by itself. Let's see if we can divide by 3 and not get some fractions. If we do get fractions, I would just add this 15x over, but we're going to see if we can get it to even out. So negative 15 divided by 3 is negative 5x. 6 divided by 3 is 2, so it looks like we're good, so let's go ahead and just use substitution. So 5x minus 5x plus 2 is equal to 15. 5x minus 5x is 0. Does 2 ever equal 15? Well, no, it doesn't, so my answer is no solution. Okay, multiply both sides by negative 2 because you got to do the opposite. So y and then negative 2. And then you multiply by a negative, so you have to flip your sign. So there's my answer. Okay, it looks like y is almost by itself, but if I divided all of this by 6, I would get some ugly fractions. So let's try doing elimination and subtract 9x over. So then I would get negative 9x plus 6y is equal to 9. So we can multiply this top. Let's cancel our x's, so let's multiply by 3. So then I would get 9x minus 6y is equal to negative 9. If we added down, negative 9x plus 9x is 0, 6y plus negative 6y is 0, 9 plus negative 9 is 0. Well, does 0 equal 0? Yes, it does. So I have an infinite number of solutions. That means that line sits on top of each other. Both of those lines sit on top of each other. Multiple points that would work. Okay, so let's see if we can eliminate any because it's a dash line. It doesn't look like it. So let's pick a point. I'm going to pick 1, 1 again because it's in my shaded region. Let's put it in for A. So is 1 greater than 2? No. Let's try C. So if I plug it in for C, is 1 less than 2? Yes. Okay, now let's try the other one. Is 1 less than negative 1? No. So that one doesn't work. Okay, let's try B. Is 1 less than 2? Yes. Is 1 greater than negative 1? Yes. So B is my answer. Okay, determine which graph is represented by the equation below. Okay, again, we can't eliminate any based on the fact that it's a solid line, so we're going to choose a point. Let's try 0, negative 1. Okay, so let's plug it into this first equation. So I got to plug my y in. So is negative 1 greater than or equal to 2? No, so that one's off. Try the next one. Well, that make me negative 1 is greater than 2 again because they're the same. Okay, so we know that this top one should be good. So let's try this bottom one. So y negative 1 greater than or equal to 0. Is negative 1 less than or equal to 0? Yes, it is. So B is my answer for that one. Okay. It looks like, since these both are dashed line, that means it has to be this. That means it shouldn't have a line underneath, so we can automatically eliminate B and D. So now we got to figure out what point we want to use. So let's try using point 1, 1. Let's put it in for A. Okay, negative 1 minus 2 is negative 3. So that one didn't work, so we know that our answer is going to be this one. Okay, y equals 4x. Since y is the same thing as 4x, let's go ahead and plop it in for y. Okay, 3x plus 5 times 4x is 20x. 3x plus 20x is 23x. Divide both sides by 23. So then x is 1. Let's plug it back in. I'm going to plug it into the equation on the left. 4 times 1 is 4. So there's my answer. Okay, doesn't look like I can eliminate any based on the fact that they are all solid. So we just did this one though, so we're good.